Welcome to Night Watch Legacy. Make yourself comfortable. Tonight, we're stepping into the pages of history, and the story waiting for us is one you won't forget. Let me ask you something. Have you ever had one of those days where absolutely everything goes wrong? You spill your tea, the bus leaves early, your boss emails you at 8 in the morning on a Saturday. Now imagine a day where things went so wrong that your entire civilization collapsed. Yeah, our ancestors had it worse. Now, here's the fun part. Earth is not malicious. It's not out to get us. It's just temperamental. Picture a toddler holding a snow globe labeled humanity and occasionally giving it a violent shake. That's geology. Most days, Earth is calm. We walk around on its crust as if it's a solid table. We pretend the ground is reliable, permanent. But under that thin crust, a boiling ocean of molten rock, a furnace hotter than the surface of the sun, pressure that could crush a city like a tin can. So when the Earth decides to let off some steam, it's not a private affair. It's noticeable. Tonight, we'll walk you through volcanic eruptions that erased entire civilizations, earthquakes that broke the ancient world like dropped pottery, floods so big they made people genuinely believe the gods were pressing reset, and climate disasters that literally rewrote history. And I'll say this right now, the scale of these events, absolutely absurd. We humans like to think we're in charge, but as you'll see, we're very much passengers on a giant flaming rock hurtling through space. So grab a drink, get comfortable, and let's walk straight into history's biggest nope moments. The Bronze Age collapse and the earthquake storm. Let's jump back to around 1200 BC. Picture a world full of powerful kingdoms, the Mycenaeans of Greece, the Hittites of Anatolia, the Egyptians at their height, and dozens of thriving coastal city-states. Trade networks stretched from Italy to Syria. Palaces glittered with bronze, gold, and imported luxuries. This was honestly a Mediterranean golden age. And then, very suddenly, it ended. Populations vanished. Languages disappeared. Entire writing systems were forgotten. Archaeologists called it the Bronze Age collapse because subtlety was not on the menu. At first, historians blamed the Sea Peoples, a mysterious group who apparently invaded every coastal city within paddling distance. Then, they blamed drought, famine, internal rebellion, too many angry letters from accountants. But recently, geologists and archaeologists connected the dots, or rather, the cracks. Across the entire eastern Mediterranean, archaeological layers show evidence of repeated massive earthquakes. Not one earthquake, not two, but a chain reaction lasting decades, maybe even a century. Imagine living in this time. You're rebuilding your palace walls for the 6th time in your life. Your priest keeps telling everyone the gods will soon calm down and the shaking will stop. And then the ground starts shaking again, like someone is trying to unplug the earth. What do? You pack. You leave. You lose faith in your government. Your trade routes collapse. Your civilization eventually just dissolves. This wasn't a single disaster. It was a relentless, exhausting barrage. Think of it as the Mediterranean's most destructive group project. And like all group projects, nobody survived with their sanity intact. The eruption of Thera and the fall of the Minoans. If you ever visit Santorini today, you'll see blue skies, white houses, vineyards, tourists taking selfies every 8 seconds. But beneath those cliffs is the scar of one of the largest volcanic eruptions in human history. Somewhere around 1600 BC, Thera erupted with the explosive force of several hundred Hiroshima bombs. We don't even know exactly how big it was, because the volcano literally erased most of itself. When your disaster destroys the evidence of itself, that's how you know it's serious. Now nearby lived the Minoans, one of the most advanced Bronze Age civilizations. They had multi-story palaces, plumbing systems, artwork so sophisticated it makes Renaissance artists look like they were doodling. And then the sky turned black. Thera blasted ash tens of kilometers into the atmosphere. The sea drew back and tsunamis charged toward Crete. Ships were destroyed. Ports were ruined. Crops failed. Climate destabilized. Imagine how terrifying this was. You're a Minoan sailor. The sun disappears behind a volcanic cloud. The sky turns orange. Ash falls like hot snow. And the sea suddenly starts running away from the shore. Always a terrible sign. Thera didn't just inconvenience the Minoans. It destabilized their entire control of the Aegean. And into that power vacuum stepped a rising civilization, the Mycenaeans. This eruption may have even inspired the myth of Atlantis, a powerful civilization swallowed by the sea. The flood behind the story of Noah. Let's talk about floods, because ancient people loved telling flood stories, not casually, obsession level. The Sumerians, the Babylonians, the Akkadians, they all wrote about big floods. So what happened? There are a few theories. Theory 1. The Black Sea Flood. Around 7,000 years ago, melting glaciers raised sea levels. The Mediterranean may have burst through the Bosporus and flooded the Black Sea basin catastrophically. Imagine a waterfall 200 times larger than Niagara, flooding an entire region in months. If you lived anywhere near it, you'd absolutely tell your grandkids about it. Theory 2. Massive river floods. Mesopotamia sits between the Tigris and Euphrates, two rivers that historically behaved like toddlers with sugar highs. One year, perfect irrigation. The next, here comes your house floating by. Archaeologists found layers of silt showing enormous floods that wiped out settlements. Theory 3. Several disasters merged into one myth. People remember disasters, but they really remember disasters retold by dramatic storytellers around the fire. Now imagine thousands of years of storytelling, exaggeration, interpretation, and mixing of events. Before long, you've got one guy building a boat saving animals, humanity being restarted, divine judgment, and an eternal bestseller. Whatever the truth, somewhere in ancient Mesopotamia, someone lived through a flood so ridiculous that humanity never forgot it. The Year Without Summer, 1816. Now let's jump forward to something much more recent and much weirder. In 1815, Mount Tambora erupted in Indonesia. It was the largest eruption in 10,000 years, and in 1816, the world paid the price. Skies went dark, temperatures dropped, crops died across continents, people panicked, trees failed to fruit, snow fell in the middle of summer. Farmers believed the end times were near. Newspapers printed wild theories. People blamed sunspots. Some blamed witches. Yes, in 1816. Meanwhile, in Switzerland, the weather was so dreadful that a group of friends stuck in a villa started a writing contest. That group included Lord Byron, Mary Shelley, and Percy Shelley. And out of this miserable, depressing, cold, volcanic winter came Frankenstein, one volcanic eruption partly responsible for the birth of science fiction. Talk about unintended consequences. The Shaanxi earthquake. Let's move to China. The 1556 Shaanxi earthquake, the deadliest earthquake in history. An estimated 800,000 people died. Part of what made it so deadly were yaodongs, cave dwellings carved into low soil. This soil is amazing for agriculture, terrible for earthquakes. When the quake hit, whole hillsides simply collapsed. Imagine being a Ming Dynasty official writing the disaster report. Your Majesty, the ground has folded. This earthquake destroyed cities, farms, temples, monasteries. It disrupted trade routes for decades. It transformed settlement patterns for centuries. It didn't just kill people, it broke the infrastructure of an entire region. The Lisbon earthquake. Now let me take you to Lisbon, 1755, a thriving port city, full of wealth, culture, trade, and churches. On November 1st, All Saints' Day, churches were full. People gathered, candles flickered, and then at 9:40 a.m., the earth tore open. The shaking lasted almost 10 minutes. Imagine 10 full minutes of the ground behaving like a roller coaster. Buildings collapsed. People fled to the waterfront. The sea retreated. Always bad. Then came the tsunami. After that, the fires. It was a disaster triple feature. Up to 50,000 people died. But here's the astonishing part. This disaster changed European thought. Philosophers asked, how could this happen in a religious city on a holy day? Voltaire wrote a poem questioning divine justice. The Enlightenment accelerated. Scientific reasoning grew stronger. Lisbon also rebuilt with earthquake-resistant buildings. They literally invented seismic engineering. From ruins came modernity. The Maya megadrought. The Maya civilization thrived for centuries, cities with pyramids reaching the sky. Astronomy, mathematics, writing, they had it all. And then, many cities fell silent. One major cause? Megadroughts. Lakebed samples and cave formations show multi-year droughts around the 9th century. Agriculture failed. Cities struggled to feed their people. Political structures crumbled. Imagine being a Maya priest telling people the rain will come if they perform certain rituals, and then watching the sky stay painfully empty day after day. The civilization didn't disappear. Maya culture survives today. But the political superstructure collapsed dramatically. Climate can topple kings as easily as swords. Krakatoa, 1883. Now for a big one, a loud one, a very loud one. In 1883, Krakatoa erupted. The explosion was so loud, sailors heard it 3,000 miles away. Shockwaves circled the planet 4 times. Skies changed color around the world. The sunsets inspired painters. Weather patterns shifted. Crops failed in some regions. And the island? It basically disappeared. Thousands died from tsunamis and ash. Entire coastlines were reshaped. Krakatoa wasn't just a disaster, it was a global event. Scientists still study it to this day because it tells us so much about atmospheric behavior, climate, and geological power. The Toba supereruption. Finally, we end with something truly mind-bending. About 74,000 years ago, The Toba supervolcano erupted. Not just a big eruption, a super eruption. This thing could make modern volcanoes look like birthday candles. Ash blanketed continents. Temperatures dropped dramatically. A volcanic winter may have lasted years. Some scientists propose it reduced humanity to only a few thousand survivors. Even if the genetic bottleneck theory isn't fully proven, the impact was enormous. Imagine being an early human, watching the sky turn dark and ash pile up on the ground. Yep, this seems like a problem for future me. Toba changed ecosystems, climate, and possibly the entire trajectory of human evolution. It's the disaster to end all disasters. So there you go, some of the biggest natural disasters our world has ever thrown at us. Volcanoes that ended civilizations, earthquakes that reshaped continents, floods that became myths, climate disasters that created literature, and eruptions that nearly deleted humanity. History isn't just shaped by people, it's shaped by the planet. A planet that occasionally decides it's time for a dramatic plot twist. If you made it this far, let me know in the comments. Which disaster shocked you the most? And which one should I explore in a deep dive episode? Thanks for watching. And remember, be nice to the Earth. She has a temper and a long memory.